Hey guys, it's Saru, and I am free. I've been gone for over a month on YouTube, but really for the past year I've just really not uploaded much content for various reasons. But honestly, the major one is I just wasn't legally allowed to talk about it till now. And I know people were reaching out to me and asking what was up. Hell, I even lost my Discord partnership due to my inactivity. So I wanted to talk to you guys about this, not just as my subscribers, but for those that are thinking about making content and that may eventually reach the same crossroads that I did and deal with certain things like I did. So hopefully this will help you guys, give you some advice, maybe a warning or so, and I can help you with it. So let's get right into it. So you guys may remember that about 2 years ago, actually exactly 2 years ago, I signed a contract with Frederator Networks, which would allow them to basically be my talent agency and management. I mean, how could I not be excited? These people created The Fairly Odd Parents, Jimmy Neutron, Adventure Time, among a few other shows that were awesome, and when I was a kid, those shows were around everywhere and I was always watching them, so how could I not? The company was getting into the gaming world and were starting to sign content creators into their agency. They promised me the world and more with marketing, promotional things, a one-on-one agent that I would be talking to for anything, that would be reaching out, opportunities, merch, and pretty much everything with the resources available at hand. After I signed, the first week was awesome. I signed for 1 year with the understanding that it would not be renewed and that if I wanted to continue, we could talk about it and renew it on July 2021 and even discuss different revenue shares than what was originally listed in the contract, which was a 30-70 split. So basically they would take 30% and I would take 70%. I don't really care about revenue on YouTube. If I did, I probably would be making things that are more hip and fancy for content, but I mean, maybe I'd make a reaction channel for music that I've probably never heard, but I definitely have. But I let it go. And I said whatever. After the first month, it was alright. I had resources available that was basically just plastered on a webpage for me to use, and that was fine with me. But after that, I spoke with no one, had zero chats with any of the agency managers, none of the talent reps, no one reached out to me, no one talked to me about things, no timeline planning and all that, nothing. It was basically like I signed, and then I was thrown into a tiny island filled with other people just like me that were all pretty much voice actors and animation people or studios, and maybe 2 or 3 gaming channels. It sucked, but I said whatever and figured the resources I'm being offered outweigh this feeling. It really did not, to be honest. Not at all. After the first year, so about August or so, I reached out to Frederator because I was under the understanding, like I said, that in July of that year, so 2021, I was to be released from my contract and I could chat with them and we could renew it or we can go forward and just go our separate ways. So I talked with them, told them that I'd like to be released fully and we'll be going our separate ways. I wasn't getting what I needed from this place. I mean, it is a multi-channel network and I'm aware of how these work, but I just wanted out. They said no. At this point, I've also been talking to another agency called Blackshore, which I had known about and has signed some of the biggest names in the gaming world really, and offered me a much better deal. Seriously, a much better deal. I mean, it would be I would take 90%, they would take a 10%, which I mean, again, I don't really care about the revenue because YouTube itself takes like 45 to 55%, and then whatever else is left, I would take 90% of, and then Blackshore would take 10%, which is nice considering Frederator would be taking 30%. Blackshore offered me a contract where I wouldn't be stuck in, and we even had lawyers and even talks about buying the contract from Frederator, but Frederator said no. So I was stuck for a whole year with an agency that was making money off my channel, which I wouldn't mind if they actually did something on my channel, but they didn't. And that whole not caring about the money thing started becoming bitterness and a resentful feeling that they were making money off me when they weren't providing me anything. The one resource I did use from them was Epidemic Sound, which honestly, if I wanted to, I could have just paid the $100 a year, or the monthly rate of like $10. Did not really outweigh the hundreds and thousands of dollars they were taking from me. Anyways, I was stuck, and it felt like I was put away in a box for some time. And during this time, I was also dealing with my ADHD problems, because for as long as I've known of myself, which is rather long, I have known that I've had ADHD. I've kept it quiet, I don't really talk about it much, nor do I really show it often. Well, at least I try not to show it, but for the past year, it had gotten pretty bad. I think it was just the stress of everything and dealing with other things as well, that everything was just coming up. I couldn't focus, I couldn't sit still, my legs were simulating a jackhammer all of the time, and I kept starting things and abandoning them. I figured it was time to see a doctor for real about this, and got officially diagnosed. I had already dealt with being depressed my entire life, and I just didn't want to be on more pills and stuff, and I was tired of it. So about a month ago, while dealing with all of this, I went, and turns out, yeah, I do have ADHD. Even my mother was there and confirmed everything that indicated about it. And growing up, no one had told her about it, and well, anyways, I don't blame her whatsoever. Like I said, I was really good at hiding things, and I just left it. But yeah, I have it. And it was nice to hear that, weirdly enough, because it was as if I could finally confirm that I wasn't insane and why I was randomly passing out, or I could just be in a car and pass out, or always tired throughout the day, or that I couldn't focus or pay attention for long, or be in a conversation for long, or look at somebody while I'm talking and not go crazy. You know, it's blah blah blah, basically. Bunch of stuff. And all my life I had thought it was about just having no motivation or just the lack of willingness to push myself. And finally I had an answer, and all that weight was just finally off my shoulders. So I started medication, Concerta, which is basically Ritalin, that lasts for 12 hours rather than Ritalin, which lasts about 3 hours. And yeah, I finally began to feel a bit normal. My head was clear, I wasn't thinking a million things at once, I could focus on a task and get it done, sometimes without noticing. And throughout this time, I was confirming that my contract with Federator was really going to be cancelled this year. And I'm happy to say that it did. I'm free. I feel finally relaxed again. And on the same day, I even signed with Blackshore. Now yes, it is another talent agency for YouTube, and yes, it is another multi-channel network. But I'll tell you why I signed. Where most people wouldn't sign because of the one bad negative experience they had with one network, I understand. But for a year, they kept in contact. The talent rep that tried to get my contract was keeping tabs on me, making sure that I was good, and in some ways they were persistent. I wasn't blown off after we figured out that I was just stuck for a year. They kept checking in, and that's why I signed. And it may not be a good enough reason for others, but I'll tell you why it's a good enough reason for me. Back in 2019, when my YouTube channel was hacked, I was devastated. The hackers took almost $4,000 from my channel, uploaded over 3,000 videos in 4 days with anime and mangas and random stuff, which got it shut down, got endless copyright strikes. That was in November 7th, and I only got my channel back in February of 2020. Monetization and everything else was restored in April of 2020, and that's because there was an agent that was there for that 6th to 7th months that stuck with me. Even after I lost my YouTube partnership, which one of the perks with YouTube partnership is that you have a priority chat. I guess you can speak with somebody or email somebody and talk with them, and they are your agent, and if there's any issues with your account, they can easily just kind of talk with you, rather than waiting days and days for a contact from maybe a support agent or maybe a robot. But this one agent, it was the same person, for 6 to 7 months stuck with me, even after I lost my partnership. Because once you lose the partnership, you're no longer able to email them, you're no longer able to even reply to them. That person kept in contact with me via email in order to escalate all of my issues, and like I said, after you lose it, you can no longer email the support team. But that one support agent stuck with me for half a year and kept me updated daily, sometimes multiple times during the day. And because of that persistence, I got my channel back. That feeling was familiar, and that feeling is what allowed to feel like it was the right call to sign with Blackshore. Plus, it's also not a permanent thing. It's like a month-to-month contract basically, and if I decide to leave, I can just leave. I made sure of it this time, and we'll see how it goes. And that's why, my friends, I've barely had any content for the past year. Hopefully I can get back into the swing of things, and you'll see more constant content here. If you guys had any familiar situations dealing with depression or ADHD or contract issues, I'd love to talk more about it in the comments below and get to know you a bit more, get to know my little community. Thank you always to the people that have supported my channel. I feel free, finally, and yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and click that adorable fucking bell to know when I upload a brand new video. And don't forget to come join my Discord if you want to chat and hang out. Much love, and as always, till next time, friends.